What is going on, everybody? Jameson Hutchison here with my man Sean for Ryder Dynasty. We're doing Underdog Best Ball draft today. No JJ, no Joe. They decided to go on excursion and leave us alone. So just got my man Sean here today. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Yeah, just one little tag team here tonight. No fatal four ways or nothing.
So we're gonna waiting for a couple people here. So we're gonna pull up the board and we're just gonna chat for a minute while this goes on here, and then so come on in if you got any questions, bring them in, and then we will get this started here in a few minutes. So, Sean, so far this year, have you done a bunch of drafts?
I'm in three right now. Three slow drafts going. Completed a couple so far, a couple best balls, and then once we get closer to actual season start time, August, September, I'll probably end up with around 25 leagues, give or take.
I feel like mine is starting to creep up on me. It's like the middle of July, and we get the charity leagues going, and then the friends are like, "Hey, I got a friend," like, and I told myself last year I wasn't going to do this, and here we are, and I've already added like 10 more than I want to, and I still haven't gotten to the main ones, but we're going to power
That's
through it. And
that's my yearly lie as well. It's always I'm gonna get eliminate a few leagues, and I do. I get rid of a few, but then I replace them by double of what I've eliminated. Kind of like cutting the head off a hydra. You cut one off, two more grow, and that's what keeps happening.
Right.
But I do enjoy it, especially when we get down into the redrafts right before the season starts, where it's 45-second clock, minute clock. There is no more slow drafts. It's we're picking right now, and boom, 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 let's go. I love that. I'm ready for that part. Slow drafts are nice, but they get a little too slow.
I was in slow draft hell for, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I just had one too many, and some of them were going real slow. And then 8 hours would be up. Oh, can I switch my pick out? And then you have to go through that process, and it's like, my God. So
Right.
we got 2 people left. We are going to pull up the board here, and then for Underdog, I know Sean, this is your first time, so we will be doing your best ball Underdog virginity today.
All
I don't know if
right.
that's the right way to put it, but so half point PPR, no super flex in this one, no tight end premium, almost back to normal, which is a little goofy for all the super flex and all the stuff that we've IDP, all the other stuff that we've been doing.
I don't know if I can do this. That sounds too simple.
So can we even do late round quarterback? It's been so long.
I don't remember how.
We are in the 2 hole, so we've got a couple seconds here.
Playing with JJ's money, correct?
Yes, I believe so. So there we go. Maybe.
Surely McCaffrey goes first, right?
I would assume so. I'm going to pull up the board. I think people like the dark mode. And then we will get going here shortly. There we go.
12 teams? 10.
12 teams. So we got 5 seconds left here. And like I said, we're in the 2 hole. It makes it pretty simple for us.
CMC or bust, right?
Pretty much. So if they don't do that, then we'll have our pick of a litter of the top end wide receivers. But
what do you think about those first 3 there? Lamb, Hill, Chase. I'm seeing obviously Lamb's the hot name, and the other 2 seem to flip back and forth as to which one goes first. But it is those 3 every time.
Right. So we're on the clock here. Christian McCaffrey, of course, gets auto drafted. Go figure. So if you want to pick at the litter, if you want to pick this one, Lamb, Tyreek, or Jamar Chase, I think all of them are fine here.
We'll take Lamb. I don't have any Lamb anywhere.
There we go. So
we'll keep it.
CeeDee Lamb is off the board. And then just real quick, No, IDP Plus. Get the get the draft guide. The first month is $1 with promo code mock draft. So go to idpguys.org. Go check them out. Like I said, IDP, redraft, best ball, you name it, all over on the site. Kind of getting a little switching from IDP guys to IDP Plus here shortly. I think the new website's coming, so a lot to look forward there.
Yeah, still working out a few kinks on that. Yeah, hopefully any day now. But we
Right.
also got the Autism IDP Invitational coming up later, probably in August. I think it's usually when we start drafting. So if you guys want to join a big tournament there, come sign up.
There we go. I think I got the board correct finally. So
It's
my
rolling now.
yeah. And of course, my stupidity here trying to do all this all alone. That's why JJ is the usually in the captain's chair, and I'm trying to do it on my phone, talk to you on the computer for my first time. So I mean, if this looks like an absolute disaster, just put it all on me. Put it on my
Hey,
tab.
we're just having fun out here. We got no big plans tonight. We're going to try to win some money. And if not, we're just going to lose JJ's money, so it's okay.
Right. So about as chalky as it gets. Of course, this wide receiver run is getting pretty wild. I think these wide receivers have really started to kind of take a toll of their own, honestly. Just everybody's see Brees went 6, Bijan at 8. Both of them kind of flip flop back and forth, but
Yeah,
we get Marvin Harrison at 12.
it's too high, man. Way too high for Harris.
That's a little rich for my blood, but
Yeah.
it's not my money playing with it.
I
So
mean, I have just as many NFL starts as Marvin Harrison right now. And that's really where we're at. He's going to have to go off so high this year just to justify his ADP right now. It's through
right.
the roof.
So we got Nico Collins, who kind of fluctuates, honestly, in a lot of drafts that I've been. Sometimes he kind of falls a little bit just because he's going up against Stephon Diggs and
Right.
Tank Dell. And I think it went kind of early here. So we're coming up here in a couple picks here. How do you usually like to start off your drafts? Do you like to mix in a running back and kind of go hero RB, or do you just like to pounce on the wide receivers until they all run out?
I don't mind mixing it up. I don't want to load up too heavy at one position. It never pays off for me. I do like a good balance. Seeing Mike Evans go already kind of hurts my feelings. I thought we could get him at the 3-2 there. I was hoping, running back here and then Mike Evans on the way back. But it's good to
That's
see
not
him
happening.
get his notoriety here because he's fantastic.
So be next on the clock. We got both Debo and Ayuk still on the board. We got Devon Achan. I don't know how you feel about him, but Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, a guy I like a lot. So we got a couple options coming up here.
I'm not taking H-Han this high. I do think he's another one being overdrafted.
So Devonta Smith is gone. We got Debo. We got Ayuk. We got Metcalf. Kyron Williams too. So let's see.
Let's go Williams. Let's throw a running back in there.
You want to? Works
Yeah,
for me.
We'll hit wide receiver on the way back.
So
Yeah,
still got
H.
this. There you go.
See, I figured H-Han would go. I just don't see him being the main back.
So especially with Mostert there. So we're back on the
Mostert's
clock
still
here.
there. You can get Mostert like 8 rounds later.
We got Ayuk, Metcalf, DJ Moore. I think Ayuk or Metcalf. You got a preference?
We'll take Ayuk here. We'll go back to back Niners for this
There
round.
we go.
I do like Metcalf though. His big playability and just everybody remembers him running down. Who was it? Buda Baker.
Yes.
On that, down at like the 3-yard line or something. That was wild.
So we've got a little bit of time left here. Derrick Henry goes kind of polarized. I think I have 0 Derrick Henry so far this year.
I have 1 so far, but I also have Lamar Jackson in that league. So That's an unusual stack, but I have it.
It's not bad. Like you just they can run the option, they can run Lamar. It might just end up being Henry and Lamar scoring points in Baltimore this year. So
Now, I think that league is PPC, points per carry, as well. So
that works out pretty well, don't it?
yeah, I do like points per carry. I think it does boost their value, and also when the quarterback takes a knee, it doesn't completely screw you on your score. I've seen guys go from winning 1,500 down to 600 because a quarterback
Right.
took a knee to end the game, in the season, and that was the championship game. Lost $900 because of that.
It's brutal, isn't it?
That's rough. That's really rough.
Let's see. We got a couple people going
Another
off here.
wide
It's just
receiver
all
run.
look at all that orange right there. So I feel like you can get away with, especially these underdog drafts. You can get away with one running back, but like the guy at the first hole that got McCaffrey and Achan and Debo, who's kind of for me hit or miss. I just feel like it gets real tough real quick.
Yeah. Like I say, Achan, I'm not comfortable taking him that high. I'm really not, because like Mostert's there. Um, and I just look, when he pops off, he does get some big points, but once he's hurt or gets a little nicked up, and he missed a lot of time too. So
Especially with best
it's
ball, your
right.
availability is like the one thing you need. And if you are kind of banking on a guy getting hurt and he hasn't been able to show so far that he can stay healthy at his size, kind of makes it tough there.
Speaking of small guys, Tank Dell. This is the highest I've seen him drafted in any league.
He had a lot of good touchdown variants before he got hurt last year, but I like Tank Dell. Um, I think Stephon Diggs kind of makes it harder, obviously, but I still think he's valuable. It seems a little high there. I mean, the wide receiver 2 or 3
Yeah,
compared to like Amari Cooper, who I've seemed to get a lot of so far this year.
yeah, because everybody's passing up on him.
I think people are scared of Deshaun Watson, and I'm trying to capitalize on that. So
Sure.
I
Yeah,
totally get it, but
yeah. Character. If character is not bad enough, his ball distribution there and what games he did play wasn't the greatest. He looked really bad, really rusty. Hopefully, he turns it around. I guess.
hopefully another year. I mean, how many more years that you need? So we got Josh Allen at the end of round 3. First quarterback goes off, and then Travis Kelsey is your first tight end. So kind of mixing it up a little bit. Some guys that are still on the board: Sam Laporta, who's ranked mostly tight end #1 overall. George Pickens is he just got picked, so
Just
he's gone.
drafted.
But
I doubt
like
Laporta makes it back to us. I would be
so
surprised, even with this out being tight end premium.
right,
Travis Etienne's another guy that's kind of getting pushed down the rankings here in the ADP. Like, I'm a big fan of his. I thought he looked really good last year, and the offense seemed to kind of revolve around him. I mean,
he's got a lot of carry.
that was a terrible offensive line, and he finished like running back 2, 3, somewhere around there.
So especially in the first half. So,
Yeah,
but we got a couple options here. I think it's a little early for quarterback, but we
I
do
do
have
like.
Hurts
I like
and
Kirk too.
Lamar Jackson. Kirk just went, of course. Terry McLaurin, Hollywood Brown, Keenan Allen, Jaden Reed, Calvin Ridley, some of the receivers. Mark Andrews. Let's
He was
see.
Hurts.
Patrick Mahomes. Here goes Hurts. So, which way are you leaning here? We got probably about 15 seconds before we're on the clock. Any position that you like, or trying to think?
I don't mind Scary Terry. I really don't. I like him. Kirk. They're all kind of in this area.
So we will do Scary Terry here. I think this is my first share of them, and then we'll be back on the clock here shortly. We've
Hollywood
got
Brown. That's such a hard guy for me to trust any year. Trey McBride. It's another guy that
so
seems to go a little higher than I'd like.
got Lamar, Patrick Mahomes up at the top here, Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid. Josh Jacobs, any of those guys tickle your fancy? We got Anthony Richardson. That'd be my guy.
Yeah, let's
So
go
at 10
Richardson
pip,
here.
let's do it. Hell of a
Mix it up
start
a
so
bit.
far.
I don't have any Richardson because I'm either too far in the first round, like I miss him, like just miss him, or it's not a very good super. It's not super flex, so I usually miss out on him. And with Lamar Jackson, we've seen what he can do. He is getting a little older. Derrick Henry being there, I think, steals some of that thunder, especially down at the goal line. So I'm looking for Jackson to maybe lose some rushing yards this year, and most definitely some touchdowns.
I think his line was 675 over on DraftKings. I saw, but somebody
Okay.
pointed out every year that he's played a full season, he hasn't had less than 800 yards. So it's kind of give or take, but he's never had Derrick Henry behind him either. So
Right.
it
And
just kind of makes it a little goofy there.
with Derrick Henry, even though his yardage have been dropping the last couple of years, one of those he was injured in, and the other, if anybody looked at Tennessee last year, that offensive line was god awful. This dude was getting hit as he's getting the ball and still getting a few yards. So I don't think he's done yet. I really don't. And he's such a specimen. We've never seen a running back quite like him with his size, his power, and his speed. Even at 30 years old, this guy can still do it.
So that's a. I think Will Levis was the most hit quarterback last year. Just the offensive line. I mean, the minute the ball was hiked, he'd get Goldberg speared out of his boots,
And
and
they didn't
just
even play the whole season.
no, and that was the same with Derrick Henry. They'd catch him behind the line of scrimmage before he even got 2 feet on the ground to start moving. So
Yeah, it
much
was
better,
awful.
much better in Baltimore, and I think it'd be fun, just like we talked about earlier, over on the goal line. So I mean, you put Lamar and Derrick Henry, just kind of pick your poison there. You kind of
Yeah,
sell your soul for one, and then they hand it off to the other. So
I wouldn't be surprised to see Henry throw a touchdown to Jackson. He's thrown a few
yep,
over the last several years. He kind of does. He'll run up to the line, do that little jump pass.
it's
Definitely Andrews will get one. It should be
he'll
fun.
probably get a
I'm really
couple.
excited about seeing him in Baltimore.
So it'd be kind of a shame that it's like the end of it, like the end of
Right.
his career instead of like just the middle. Not saying he's totally washed, but I mean,
Sure.
just to get on one of those roles.
I felt the same way when Steve Smith went there after all those years in Carolina,
Yes.
which just all that nastiness he had and just, such a gritty player. And for him to go to Baltimore, it just fit. But again, it was later in his career. If you imagine either one of those had been there their entire career, it would just fit the build so perfect in
It's
that
almost like our
division.
it's almost like our guy Terry McLaurin. By the time that he might have a quarterback, it's like he's already older players. So it's like
He's just like Mike Evans. I mean, he's getting 1,000 yards every year. He doesn't get all the touchdowns. He only gets like 5 or 6, but he's getting 1,000 yards, and he's doing it with nobody. He never has help. He never has a great quarterback. So, he's quietly the next Mike Evans, I think.
I think that's pretty fair. Doesn't have the 1,000 yard seasons, obviously, but I just one of those underappreciated guys that have never. I mean, Mike Evans obviously had Tom Brady, but outside of that, he had Jameis Winston, and
Right.
Baker Mayfield. So we got coming up. We're going on the rookie wide receiver run. Odunze, Lad McConkey. Um, so we got our quarterback. We can sit for a minute there, but Kyle Pitts, Evan Ingram for tight ends. We got DeAndre Hopkins, CJ Stroud. I don't want to do that just yet. Deontay Johnson, I think, is a fun one. Brian Thomas. Any of those guys tickle your fancy here in the 6th round?
I'm leaning tight end.
Okay. So there goes Kyle Pitts, of course. So we've got Evan Ingram, Jake Ferguson. We got Brock Bowers.
Ferguson, Ferguson Ingram's where I'm leaning here. Brock Bowers is such a fun pick, but that's more of a dynasty thing. Ingram, I think, will have another pretty good season. His was all volume, and Ferguson, man, Dak likes throwing to him.
So we'll go. See, you want to do Ingram or Ferguson?
I'm at a
So
coin flip here.
we'll do Ingram. We'll make it
Okay,
easy. There we go. And then we'll be back right on the clock here. And then, so I think we can sit for a minute at quarterback. CJ Stroud just went, but I think we could possibly pair up CeeDee
Uh,
Lamb here in a minute. Jaden Daniels. So we're back on the clock. Christian Watson, Addison, Jackson Smith. Let's see here. Running backs. Got David Montgomery, Ramondre Stevenson.
ooh, I do like Stevenson. Let's throw him in there.
Let's do that. So
I've been getting him a lot. And it's another guy who's fallen, but Joe went off about him what last week?
yep. So just got
He's great
paid.
situation. Just got paid. Guaranteed several years. I mean, he's not going anywhere. He can run, he can receive. And he was pretty much the focal point. The second running back was Zeke last year. I don't think he mattered a whole lot until Stevenson got injured. And I'm not scared of Gibson being there.
Right. Well, the minute Gibson ends up fumbling the football, it'll be kind of game over for him. So that's
Kamara is another guy I've been getting late.
I think I have 0 Alvin Kamara.
Is that by design?
Kind of. I've really been just absolutely punting running back this year. There's a lot of late guys that I like, and it's not that I don't think the offense is going to be great. I think the offensive line be pretty bad, but if you think about it, Derek Carr dumping off to Alvin Kamara. I'm not too afraid of Kendre Miller. I know there's been a lot of talk about him.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
I'm really not too scared about him or think he's much of a value, but that's just me personally here. And then get a couple quarterbacks going off. So Kyler, Joe Burrow, but kind of looking at our team real quick. Start off with CeeDee Lamb. I think we can get Dak here in a minute if we wanted to. Kyron Williams as our bell cow. Brandon Ayuk. You can pair him with Big Cock Brock here in a little while. Terry McLaurin with Jaden Daniels, and then Anthony Richardson, Josh Downs, or AD Mitchell. I mean, so we got some options here. Evan Ingram. I think a lot of the Jaguars wide receivers have gotten pretty cheap, so there's definitely some options that we can work with.
What do you feel about Addison with his legal troubles coming up?
I think he'll probably get suspended. I think it was a minimum of 2 games. If I saw, don't quote me on that, but I think he's a good wide receiver too, and that's it. Like he's really good with the post route, and kind of the big bomb over the middle last year with Kirk Cousins. But new quarterback, Justin Jefferson's back healthy. I'm a little worried. He's not been a click that I've been before all the stuff. He's just not very exciting. I just don't think he's got much upside compared to some of these other guys.
I agree with you. That's a good Mostert pick down there. That's really good. Again, I think he's still the focal point of that running game in Miami.
So I think he's going, especially for his running back finish last year. I just think he's a little too cheap at the moment. But we're getting the running backs going. We got Zamir White, DeAndre Swift. We're coming up here in a minute. Guys like Jameson Williams, Jalen Warren, Curtis Samuel, Cortland Sutton, Zach Moss sitting at the top of the queue here. Trying to think. I like Cortland Sutton a lot. I don't know how you feel about him so far this year, but I think he's a little bit underpriced.
I've just missed him in one of these drafts. He was a guy I was targeting because he's forgotten. Somebody's got to catch down there in Timber, right?
Yeah, seriously. So
yeah, he was the best they had last year
by far. And he had a really good season with Russ, and I think Bo Nix will be a little better. I think people have written him off already, which is kind of a shame before he's even played a game. We did the same thing with Justin Herbert coming out of Oregon. I'm not comparing them as players, but I mean, Herbert was a bust before he made it on the field for a lot of people. But
I was actually hoping Miami was going to take Herbert over Tua. That's who I preferred.
Probably wish they would have now. So, but we've got.
I still do.
If you want to, as long as we don't get sniped here, we could do Cortland Sutton here, and then we'll see what number 1 picks after us. So, does Cortland Sutton work for you?
Yeah, that's good for me.
So we will do Sutton. and then got 4 wide receivers. So
2 running
Tajay
backs.
Spears.
Oh, there went Dak.
There went Dak. You want to do Lawrence? Or we got Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels to pair with Terry McLaurin. I think that'd be a fun one. So we can get our
Yeah,
second
Jaden. I
quarterback.
don't have any Jaden Daniels, so yeah, I'd be all for that. That's another guy I keep missing.
There we go. Well, you just got your first share of them. So
Nice. I get a lot of guys I don't have.
we'll pair him with Terry McLaurin. I think we can get Ben Sinnott, the rookie, down pretty late, so we kind of get a stack there. Get both of our quarterbacks. I believe they're on different bye weeks, so that's another thing. If you're playing best ball, I've got a cheat sheet because I'm a nerd. It's got all the bye weeks
Nice.
put towards it. So, like I said, I think we will be all good. Indy, well, never mind. They're both on the same bye week. I'm a moron. We'll get Drake May or probably Bo Nix pair with Sutton a little bit later. We can get our third quarterback. That's not a big deal.
Do you think Senate starts right out of the gate? Because I believe
But,
Zach Ertz is there, right?
yeah, I think they're going to try Zach Ertz, but man, like he's
It's
about
like
as old as
40
my
years
dad.
old. Yeah.
My dad's 73, I think.
Wow.
He's coming off injury. Uh,
Yeah.
he was available throughout the playoffs, and he was in the best shape of his life. Nobody wanted him until Detroit picked him up in between the Super Bowl, and it's just like I don't see that he's got much juice left for him personally. I have 0 Zach Ertz, and I'll probably stay that way.
Spears is another hard one for me to figure out. Him and Pollard, I don't know how they're so similar. I don't know if that just means they'll rotate them in and out even more, or if they're looking for a bell cow, and then you got the direct replacement without really changing the playing style there. Tennessee's hard for me to figure out. I don't really trust many of the receivers there either. I've always liked Hopkins, but I just don't know if we can trust him and Ridley.
I think I prefer Hopkins over Ridley this year. I thought Hopkins, even though the touchdowns weren't there after the one game with Will Levis, his first game where he caught like 4 of them,
Yeah.
or that big blow up. But I mean, I've been targeting a lot of Tajay Spears. He's kind of the Chase Brown, both kind of similar players, kind of going in the similar range. But I like Spears a lot. I thought he showed a lot of juice last year. So I've been, like I said, I've been really punting running back. I think there's a lot of values here, just for
Yeah.
the fantasy landscape where all these wide receivers go so quick. You just can't get behind the avalanche there.
Devin Singletary there is a really sneaky pick if you're punting wide receiver.
Yep.
If you're going to go 0 RB to start out with, that's another one to really look into.
So I've picked up a lot of him, and I've picked up a lot of Tyrone Tracy too. So I picked him up in my Scott Fishbowl league as well. Hopefully
Nice.
that he does some returner stuff. Have you been able to complete your Scott Fishbowl draft yet?
We are, I think, the middle of the 19th round, so still a few more rounds. I'm getting into that kick returner area. I do have Xavier Gibson from the Jets and just took Kevontae Turpin from the Cowboys. I think on my last pick there. So that's another guy who could see some offensive work, but should be really, really useful in the return game.
I got sniped Greg Dortch and Cordero Patterson. That is a sentence I never thought that I would utter out of my mouth. But when you're playing
Right.
Scott Fishbowl, both of those guys, oh man, it was miserable. The Greg Dortch thing was really a kick in the nuts because I thought I was reaching like 3 rounds too early for him. And
Right.
then speaking of Fishbowl, Rashid Shaheed, I think he went in the 7th in our league. It's been a very hot topic.
He went the second round in mine at the end of number 2. So I think he was like 211. He went high, which is
we've got
the group I'm in has been really crazy. It's hard for me to predict who they're going to get, and I'm missing out on guys by just a few picks. So I almost needed to pick everybody earlier than they should have been.
right. So we're about to be on the clock again. Khalil Shakir is still on the board. Got Gus Edwards. Compare Anthony Richardson with Adonai Mitchell. That'd be a fun one. We got Zeke, Jerry Jeudy, Chase Brown. Let's see. Any of those stick out to you? As long as we don't get sniped.
I don't hate the Gus bus here. I do think he's going to be the lead back in LA.
And they're going to have a good offensive line. I don't hate that either, to be quite honest with you. I like Kamani Vidal late as well,
Yes.
just because I'm not a J.K. Dobbins. If I
Man.
get beat by J.K. Dobbins, you can call my lawyer. But
Yeah, right. I'm with you. I took J.K. Dobbins last year in Scott Fishbowl. I took him and Aaron Rodgers. Week number 1, I've lost one of my quarterbacks who I waited on because I went wide receiver first and kind of
right,
punted quarterback for the first few rounds and lost like my top running back and one of my starting quarterbacks
right out of the gate. So we're gonna
right
get
out of the gate.
so big cock Brock Purdy goes. We're on the clock. We can pair Richardson with Adonai Mitchell if you want, or Josh Downs if you got a preference there.
We'll try Mitchell.
We'll do Mitchell here.
I wouldn't be
Boom.
surprised if he becomes a returner to start out with.
Yeah.
For those
I
of you
think
in the Scott Fish Bowl, that might be a handy piece of knowledge.
so. I think I don't want to compare them as players, but I think Adonai Mitchell will hit kind of like Will Fuller did back in the day. Like the weeks that he went off, I mean, it was 120 yards,
Huge.
2 touchdowns on 2 catches
Yeah.
kind of thing. But uh, wherever you're at, Will Fuller, we love you. We miss you. I don't know what happened to that damn finger, but damn, it robbed us of you being on the Dolphins with the rest of the crew, which is kind of a shame. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
that dude, if he could have just stayed healthy, that was his biggest problem was himself. His body let him down.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 6, 7 rounds left. I need next time we do this, I'm gonna have 2 screens so I don't have to draft on my phone and leave Sean in the dust. Like I said, this is my first time trying, so just hang in with me. As long as you guys can see the screen, that's the positive here. But we got some more quarterbacks going off. Like I said, Brock Purdy went off. Brandon Ayuk, I think, ends up staying in San Francisco, but that'll be a hot topic for next couple weeks. Tua,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Herbert, Goff, uh, Zeke. There goes Zeke.
It's funny seeing Herbert slide as much as he had. This dude was like a top 4 quarterback the last few years, even with all the running quarterbacks that we had going on, the dual threat guys. He was still like the top. Well, he had Mahomes, but Herbert was right there with him, and he has fell so far. Which I know Keenan Allen isn't there, but Keenan Allen was only there half the time anyway.
Right. He'd be hamstring issues, which I love Keenan Allen. I think in fantasy football we really get hot and cold and we go too far one way or too far the other. I think the Chargers offense as a whole, I think we've gone too far negative about. I know it's not sexy, but I mean Justin Herbert, I think will be really efficient behind that offensive line.
I think so.
Josh Palmer's been fine. I don't think he's like a high upside play, but like I said, I
He's
think
Josh Palmer's a guy I'm getting in a lot of leagues because he is going later, but his chemistry with Herbert is there. Like he's
yeah,
looking for Palmer when Palmer was on the field, even when he was third, fourth string there behind the other guys.
right. So we got a couple picks left, but Zach Charbonnet, Josh Downs, we could pull that off and get the double with Richardson. I think that'd be kind of fun. Gabe Davis, Jahan Dotson. We have some options with Jaden Daniels too if you want to pair a pass catcher with the quarterbacks. Marshawn Lloyd, another guy that I really like, is here too. Xavier Leggett, my favorite wide receiver rookie outside the obvious ones. So I think we'll have some options as long as we don't get totally bamboozled here in the next 4 picks.
Do you think Leggett has a big year?
I hope so. God, I hope so. I've talked him up enough. I like the situation for him. I don't think Carolina's going to be near as bad as what they were last year. And outside of Deontay Johnson, who I like a lot, I mean, who else going to catch the ball? So,
Yeah, I'm a little worried Adam Thielen's still being around. I know he's old, but
right.
I
So
think it
we
takes Leggett a little while to get on the field. But I'd say midseason, I think he's got a solid role. That's where I'm leaning, anyways.
we got Josh Downs and Marshawn Lloyd both gone. We do have Jahan Dotson if you want to pair him with Jaden Daniels. Gabe
Yeah, I'll take
Davis.
Dotson. That'd be
We'll do
fun.
Dotson.
Yeah,
So there we go. And then we'll get
another
back
guy
on
I'd
the
like to
clock.
see go off.
Be on the clock here again in a second. Ty Chandler, Darnell Mooney, Jermaine Burton. We got Kamani
I
Vidal.
I almost pulled the trigger on Mooney in Scott Fish Bowl a little while ago. End up going Turpin instead, just for, for the return yards. I just couldn't
Right.
bring myself to take Mooney against
So
Gabe
we are
Davis.
back on the clock here. We'll get Pearsall, Chandler, Mooney, Musgrave, QJ, Quentin Johnson. Let's see.
Let's,
Jalen
let's
Wright.
let's go Quentin Johnson. This is a guy who's getting passed up everywhere, and I know he wasn't very good. And he struggled,
Well,
but I'm thinking this guy might be one of the bigger sleepers out there, even with McConkey
well,
there, Palmer.
first round pick, and obviously what was bad was really bad, but he's
Yeah,
basically free right now, and I mean he's going to get every chance that he can. So I don't, I don't blame you there. I don't, and we're kind of in that weird portion of the draft where you're kind of just taking shots. So I don't hate that there.
I see Palmer as more the short intermediate guy, more the possession guy. I
Right.
don't know where McConkey's going to be at in this. It may actually take him a little longer to get on the field, and Johnson might be the other, big time guy out there to start with. I just
Right.
think, yeah, Leggett just went.
Come on. Can't get
I
nothing.
really
Can't
thought,
get
I
nothing.
really thought it was going to get him on the way back. I really did.
Can't get
That's
nothing
on
free
me.
in this life.
That's on me. I
So
screwed that up. We should have swapped those.
it's all good in the hood, baby. So we've got just getting the last of these quarterbacks, and I think we can get a rookie fine here in the next couple rounds. But Baker Mayfield, Will Levis, a guy who I think the Titans are going to throw the piss out of the football. I think pass rate over expectation with Callahan there as head coach is going to be through the roof.
Yeah,
But Drake May, Danny Dimes, or Danny Nichols, whatever you want to call him, Bryce Young, Derek Carr, Bo Nix. So we got some options, but just keeping an eye out just so we don't go totally dry since I'm the moron who decided to put Jane Daniels and Anthony Richardson idea out there and realize they're both on the same buy. So
that's all right.
what a moron.
We
What a
don't have to
moron.
win every week.
So well, like I said, give me some grace. I'm raw dogging it tonight. But well, there goes Will Levis. I think that's one of my favorite quarterback sleepers. Excuse me. I just offensive line's a lot better. I know the weapons are kind of temporary, but just because they're all older, Tyler Boyd, DeAndre Hopkins, and Calvin Ridley. But I do like the setup for them. They're going to give them at least a shot to succeed.
I really like the Tyler Boyd signing there because I do think he is a quarterback's friend.
Right. So,
Daniel
but
Jones falling so far, man, is just if he gets back to running like he did before, he is going to be a steal for a lot of people.
I like Brian Dable a lot. I just don't think he's ever been able. I know they kind of had the run the first year where they went into the postseason, kind of snuck in. I just don't
Yeah,
think he's had the personnel to be able to actually pull off what he wants to do. I think that's been his problem. It's not his fault,
I
but
really think they thought Saquon was going to come back to him, test the market,
right,
and then come back, and that backfired.
just didn't work out for him. So we're going to be on the clock here in about 2 picks. Algier, Hubbard, Wandale. Speaking of Daniel Jones, Noah Fant as a tight end if you want to grab a second tight end. Gibson. They're getting pretty ugly here, and then we can get into probably need a running back too. So Tyrone Tracy coming up here momentarily.
Let's
If
go with
any of those
Tracy if
guys,
he makes it.
well,
I
let's
don't hate
not
that.
jinx it. There goes Chuba. One more. Don't do it. Don't do it. Here I am yelling at a computer at 6:40 at night. Don't snipe me in a best ball draft. So positive vibes only.
Well, we just need to say we want Sam Darnold next. That way, if they take him, it's no big deal.
Yeah, we won't feel bad about it. So I think Bucky Irvin, that was a close one. So we will
Well,
go
that's a
Tyrone
fun
Tracy
pick.
here. I like that
Uh,
one.
I am intrigued by Bucky Irvin, and that's in fact that's somebody I'm going to look at in these last couple of rounds if he's still there in the Scott Fish Bowl. Because if nothing else, he would make a fun returner. He's got that shiftiness about him to make some impact there right away.
Right. So, and then we'll be back on the clock again. It said, got some Demarcus Robinson, Elijah Mitchell behind Christian McCaffrey, Malachi Corley. We could do Ben Sinnott, complete the stack with Jane Daniels if you wanted.
We can do that.
So we will do that. That's our second tight end. And then we will, let's see here. We got 3 rounds left. So we do need a quarterback because, like I said, I've wasted that pick because I'm a moron. Um,
We
but
really may need to get Sam Darnold.
possibly. There we go. So we got some quarterback options here. There goes Baker.
There went one of them.
But just kind of go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got 7 wide receivers. That's pretty typical. We'll end up with 3 quarterbacks here shortly, 2 tight ends, and then the rest running backs. So pretty even build. Is there any late flyers that you like that you've
Well,
been able to catch?
seeing these last couple here, the Michael Wilson and Tyler Conklin, I like both of those guys. Aaron Rodgers, he likes his tight ends, and I think Conklin's better. If you wait on a tight end, I think he's one of the best ones you can get this late for sure. Michael
Okay.
Wilson, I mean, at this late in the draft, you're just kind of taking dart throws at upside here. And Kyler Murray likes to spread the ball. So with Harrison going so high, McBride going so high, I'm a little worried that those guys aren't going to live up to their draft capital here. And Michael Wilson could be the guy that finishes right there with them. But as far as touchdowns go, I don't know where they're going to end up there, but I think he has just as good a shot as McBride or Harrison as to being, one of the top guys there.
I think that offense is still, I mean, Kyler Murray's still underpriced. I think the Twitter fantasy community loves him, but I think overall, I mean, he's still basically a bargain price. And obviously, we saw Marvin Harrison Jr. go 12, a little high for
That's
my tasting, but and then you got Trey McBride going as a top 3 tight end option. So I
which
think
I get, but
wheels up for the Cardinals. I think they're probably a borderline playoff team, to be quite honest, this year. It's my personal opinion. You can disagree, of course, but I think there's definitely, even though they lost last year a lot, just the way they lost, they were in all the games, and
mhm.
I think they can turn it around this year some.
The defense was wild. They were rotating so many defensive linemen. We could not pinpoint who was going to be who to start that week. We basically just told everybody to just avoid that defensive line if at all possible. Their safeties are
So
top notch if you're, on the IDP side, but the offense kind of feels the same way. It just feels like any one of them could pop off. It could be James Conner this week. It could be Michael Wilson the next week. Trey McBride the next week. I mean, it could be anywhere. Which, if your team is that well balanced, it's not sexy. It's not fun for fantasy, but NFL wise, you're right. I mean, that puts them right there in the middle of the playoffs. And I feel like the NFC is a little more open than the AFC is as far as who the top. Yeah, there's a bigger gap. You got a few teams right there at the top, and then the rest of it's wide open.
right. So I don't know. It's gonna be fun. I know the AFC is like very top heavy, and then the
Mm-hmm.
NFC is like a little more wide open. But at the same time, like Green Bay, I think it's kind of a hot topic. I mean, they ended the season really hot, and I think that whole NFC North ends up getting uh, a whole lot better just overall. So we're gonna get our quarterback here because I don't want to play the game. We got Bryce Young, Derek Carr, McCarthy, Justin Fields, Darnold. I've really, well, had Russell Wilson. We could have got him, but he just went. So we'll get a quarterback here. You got a preference between Young and Carr or Justin Fields?
I think Young has more upside than those guys. Justin Fields, I don't know if I trust him to do much of anything. I think he's just going to be kind of a gimmick gadget guy here and there outside of a injury. And then with an injury, I think he turns into a running back again.
Right.
I just don't
I would
like his play.
I would offer different quarterbacks, but they also have Week 14 buys because the NFL decided to put 6 teams on bye Week 14 when it mattered the most for all of us in fantasy football land.
Such a middle finger to all of us.
They did it on purpose.
Yeah, there's
So-
no way they didn't. Because they're one of those weeks has nobody, and it's like week 9 or something that I think there's nobody on a bye, and then they put all these teams right when the playoffs are happening.
Right. So we got.
I'm
we did not
leaning
get
Young
sniped.
here.
So we'll do Bryce Young, and then we will get one more player here. We can get. Let's see.
Damian Pierce is another guy I like this late.
Yep, just went before us. Of course, got sniped. Do Luke McCaffrey, pair him with the rest of the Washington offense.
I am intrigued by
heavy.
Luke McCaffrey for sure.
So we can do that then, and then we might bring it back, possibly with a Bryce Young player. We'll see.
Maybe
But
Jatavian Sanders at tight end. I think the rest are pretty much taken.
Yeah. So as long as we don't get sniped on Mr. Luke here, we stacked Anthony Richardson, took care of Jaden Daniels, so it's a little goofy. Week 14, going to kick us right in the balls, but as long as this is more overall, I believe, so we don't have to worry about.
If we have to, leave that week 13-1, so be it.
So we got Luke McCaffrey there, and then just real quick, if you're doing a live draft, I don't think there's anything better than a Trophy Smack draft board. So just check out in the description on the YouTube here. When you guys check that out, the link will be out there. Go get your first time draft boards that also have IDP expansion packs. So for the first time, you finally don't have to fill in IDP names. You can actually just pick up the sticker and throw it on the board. So check out Trophy Smack. Check out the website. I'll also be in the description as well for anybody catching it on the YouTube. So we got IDP Plus, we got Trophy Smack sponsoring us. Great little group of players. Obviously, I don't do it near as well as JJ does. All methodical and sophisticated, and here I am just like throwing it on the board. So
we're having fun tonight. The bosses aren't here, so
right.
Unsupervised children having fun on the internet.
I was about to say, it might have supervision for me after tonight, so we'll see. We'll see. We love you, Joe and JJ. We miss you. Sorry I couldn't live up to your expectations, but I did the best I
just
could.
Lower the expectations, we're doing fine.
So we got kind of finishing up here. Just a late dart throws. Jelani Woods. Don't think we have to pull him off. I think we got enough Week 14 guys missing from the lineup, but Khalil Herbert, kind of a fun one. Been a trade talk, might be able to go somewhere else. Jalen McMillan, be the wide receiver 3, I believe, in Tampa, possibly, the rookie. Javon Baker, I think, is another fun one. Devontae Walker in Baltimore, kind of be the deep threat there if he ends up on the field. Darius Slayton, kind of I think underrated a little bit, just for the amount of volume he'll probably get in New York. And then Zay Jones, Greg Dortch, we talked about earlier, getting sniped. I can maybe get some redemption and get him on the back end here. So, and then it really gets to Alexander Madison. I can't do that. Isaac Grendo, running back 3. Getting to the nitty gritty of this last round here. So, we'll wrap it up here shortly. Keaton Mitchell was a fun one until he got injured last year. I think he'll start out on pup, but
Yeah,
hopefully he's
absolutely.
okay. That'd be a
That
very
was
fun Thunder and Lightning with him and Derrick Henry together if they are on the field.
yeah, that would be a whole lot of fun. But that knee injury just looked rough.
It's kind of a shame, isn't it?
Mm. It happens all
So
too often. You can go back to Tank Dell on that too, with the way he landed and kind of snapped his leg there too. I mean,
right. Well, he probably shouldn't be blocking on a run play in the
that's
red zone, but so
right. There went Herbert.
let's see. Herbert's gone. I think we'll get one last wide receiver here. We could do one of these rookies possibly or Darius Slayton. I'm looking through the list. And DJ Chark, I can't do that. I'd have to be under the influence, be hitting the button on DJ Chark.
Even drunk
So
me knows not to take GJ Chart. Not
yeah,
again.
you can be drunk as a skunk and still be sober enough not to hit that button. But we'll grab one of these rookie wide receivers on the way out here
Ooh,
and just
Gesicki's
kind
a
of
fun pick.
do the gritty in Cincinnati after Joe Burrow hits him.
There goes Patterson.
I think I saw Joe Burrow got a buzz cut, so I don't know if that means he means business officially or what, but
It's
we'll
about
see.
every other year he means business so far.
Until he gets hurt, unfortunately.
Right. It's a shame we look at these guys like that, as, they're great until they're hurt. But
Right.
in fantasy, this is things you got to take in consideration.
There goes Slayton.
There's Slayton, man.
Come on. Kicking me in the balls. There goes
There goes
Walker. That's
Walker.
the other one. We'll do Javon Baker or Greg Dortch. I'm sure we'll get sniped on both of them. You got a preference?
I wouldn't mind Baker.
So I like Baker a lot. I think he's close. One
I
more.
thought the same thing. I seen that. I was like, oh no.
I see the J and I see the orange. And no. End up as a meme punching my computer laptop. So there goes Sanders to pair for there. So we'll go Javon Baker. A really fun, I think, exciting rookie. And that ends up finishing our mock draft here. So we'll go through it and see after this last guy picks. But overall, we've made it through. Next time, I'll definitely be more prepared and not leave my dog Sean on an island as I list him off on the phone. But like I said, give me some grace. It's my first time. I probably shouldn't be
Did
admitting that,
great.
but
You did great.
I hung in there. We did our best here. So a lot of these late wide receivers, these rookies like Malachi Corley, Roman Wilson, Luke McCaffrey, obviously who we got, Javon Baker, Devontae Walker. So I don't know if this last guy's ever going to pick. So we'll go through our team real quick. So we started off at the 2-hole with CD Lamb, got Kyron Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Scary Terry McLaurin. First quarterback, AR5, who will end up being quarterback 1 in fantasy this year. You got that with me
Absolutely.
first. So I've been beating the drum on that all year. Evan Ingram, Ramondre Stevenson, Cortland Sutton. We've got Jaden Daniels, the rookie, out of Washington. Added the Gus Bus, A.D. Mitchell, the rookie for Indy. Jahan Dotson, QJ Quentin Johnson, Tyrone Tracy. Got a lot of rookies on this team. So Ben Sinnott, Bryce Young, Luke McCaffrey, and Javon Baker. So on paper, I'll maybe too many rookies for us, but like I said, it is your first time, and we're just doing vibes tonight. So
Yeah,
not
we're
the
just
worst
having
thing in
fun
the
here.
world, but we did get the stacks and all that stuff. Our correlation, as the nerds would say, was pretty stupendous. Outside the fact none of our players be playing Week 14, but it's all good in the hood. So
13-1, baby. That's all I heard.
but we'll get out of here shortly. Sean, before you go, just plug all the stuff that you got going on, where they can find you and what you're up to.
Yeah, you guys following me on X/Twitter at Sean8386. I'll be writing some more here for IDP guys, soon to be IDP Plus, whichever one is running at that time. So for the foreseeable future, it is still IDP guys, but hopefully by the season kicks off, we'll be fully over to the IDP Plus. Yeah, that's about it for me. What about you, Jameson? Where you at?
So I'm always on the Twitter machine at Jameson Rules. Wrestling, football is in full swing here pretty shortly, so we'll be doing a whole lot of that. Check out everything over on IDP Plus. Like I said, at idpguys.org, use mock draft, get your draft guide for $1. So go check that out. A lot of good stuff there. IDP, redraft, best ball, dynasty, you name it, we got it. So next week, we'll hope and pray that JJ and Joe will come back and save us from our demise here tonight. But like I said, we did our best. And shout out to Gary and Brittany for all they do behind the scenes. And like I said, Sean, I appreciate you stepping in, coming in on short notice and kind of, help me steer ship. And we will catch you guys all next week. So check us out, Rider Dynasty, on Twitter machine, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.